It is now with great pleasure that I introduce our commencement speaker, Brian Underwood. Brian received his degree in material science and engineering and is co-founder of Silicon Image, the company that created and developed the underlying technology behind digital visual interface and high-definition video devices, or HDMI. HDMI has been implemented in more than 5 billion electronic devices worldwide. Brian left Silicon Image to co-found Sidestepped, an internet travel search engine company that was acquired by Kayak. He also joined and grew a voice-over-IP speakerphone software startup, SignalWorks, which was later acquired by Cisco Systems. For the last 10 years, Brian has been advising and investing in high-tech and agricultural startups. He has developed his own ranches and a processing facility under the name Gold Almonds. Brian also serves on our college's Dean's Executive Committee. He and his wife, Carol Blakeut, funded the Blakeut Underwood Professorship in Material Science and Engineering at UC Davis. Please join me in welcoming Brian.
Thank you so much, Dean Curtis. It's an honor to be here. It's a phenomenal honor to be here. I remember sitting in your exact seat not too long ago. So I just want to say, when I came in, I saw joys of excitement, and I also saw tears of relief. That you're finally like, it's over. No more exams, no more finals, no more tuition bills. So congratulations, class of 2019. Before I start, yeah, well done. Well done, parents. Before I start, I'd like to thank Dr. Subhash Rispud, Materials Engineering. He's been a professor here at UC Davis for almost 30 years. He's been a great friend and mentor of mine. And I just want to say, when I was in grad school under Dr. Rispud, those were some of the best times of my life, so thank you for the great memories. Before I get started, yeah, thank you, Dr. Rispud. I remember sitting in your seat when I was at graduation thinking, okay, let's get this show on the road. You know, we got parties to go to, you know, things to do. So I'm going to hit the road running here. I'll tell you, I want to emphasize your education is a phenomenal foundation. You not only are a problem solver, you're a critical thinker. These skills are in very high demand in the tech industry. So you guys are going to do great. You're off to a great start from UC Davis. I assure you that. But the beauty of an engineering degree is you don't necessarily have to pursue engineering. Engineering is a great path to take. But I will tell you that it also can lead into medicine, into law, and in my case, business. Now, you're probably thinking, how does a guy jump from a master's degree in materials engineering to business? I mean, it's pretty logical. It doesn't really fit. Well, I'm here to tell you it was by coincidence. Just like you, I was out searching for a job, invited to a job fair. I'm walking around looking at the different departments, and these two gentlemen, they have a video going, and they're skydiving. I looked at the video and I said, you know, if that's what you got to do to join your group, there's no way in hell I'm joining your group. Well, they stepped back and we had small talk, and they said, have you ever considered product marketing? I looked down kind of like bewildered, like, well, what the hell is product marketing? They said, don't worry, join us, we'll teach you. I thought, why not? These guys are pretty good guys. I had a couple offers in engineering, but I thought, you know, this is pretty interesting. Why not give it a year? If it doesn't work out, I can always go back to engineering. So no harm, no foul. Well, here's the rest of the story. When I got there, I realized, man, I'm in trouble. I don't know product marketing. I don't know, I'm in a computer chip group. I don't know CS, EE. All this is jargon they're talking like, oh man. So I immediately used my foundation from UC Davis, and I had to work so hard to catch up. And so every hour I had extra after work, weekends, I read everything I get my hands onto, trade journals, everything. And, after a while, I started really liking this stuff. And I said, this is fantastic. So stuck it out, and it worked out well. Well, here's the rest of the story is don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You'll be surprised how good of a foundation you have in education. Go teach yourself. Go learn. You can do it. You have the tools. You're problem solvers and critical thinkers. Now, after being at this job for about 3 years, I was ready to go on to do something else. I was like, okay, I've learned this job. I'd love to learn something new. So, out of the blue, a good friend of mine called. He said, Brian, I'm at a video graphics young company. Why don't you come join us? Well, what's video graphics? What's multimedia? This is 93. This is before Netflix, before Hulu, before 3D gaming, before all these great things we do on the plane when we watch South Park. None of that existed. And so I thought, well, why not? Did it before, I'll do it again. Step out of my comfort zone again. Let's do it. So why not? I even took a pay cut to jump over to that company. And I got there, and I'll tell you, it was exhilarating. The first year, the product I was responsible for, we did video acceleration on the laptop. And I launched that chip, and we captured 70% of the market share, 70% worldwide. And it was an incredible time. I was having a blast. I loved my coworkers. I loved the customers I was working with. Everything was going exceptionally well. Well, on the side note, behind the scenes, I met a very exceptional PhD EECS engineer, happened to be working in a flat panel display laboratory. And we put our heads together and we said, flat panels, at the time, it's so obvious today, but at the time, a 14-inch display would cost $2,000, $3,000. So we put our heads together and we said, this is going to be big. Let's see if we can create a company in this space. So we started Silicon Image. But I had a big dilemma. The dilemma was the investors that we rounded up wouldn't give us a dime unless I quit. And so here I am in a job. I loved it. I loved what I was doing. All cylinders are turning. Things are going exceptionally well. And so I had this dilemma. So I go home, I talk to my wife, and we sit down, and she says, you know what? If you don't take this opportunity, you're going to regret it in the future. I said, that sounds about right, yeah. So I get back to work. Sure enough, the investor group calls. Okay, what are you going to do? Give me 5 minutes. I walked out, I typed up my resignation, walked down the hall, handed it in, walked back, picked up the phone, done. And that's how we started Silicon Image. And we stepped out and started the company. And I'll tell you, Silicon Image was a heck of a great ride. We created and invented HDMI and DVI, and the company grew like a weed. Flat panel displays went from just being in a notebook to up here on the large monitors. These are probably all driven by HDMI today. And we knew that the TVs would get on the walls. We knew they'd get on the desktop, and we rode that wave, and it was incredibly exciting. And I always cherish those memories. And the company, by far, surpassed all my expectations. We grew and hired hundreds of engineers. The company went public in '99. It was worth about $3 billion at one time, and it was definitely a win. And so, good times, I'll tell you. So, if I'm gonna give you 3 simple pointers that seem to work well for me is, number 1, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You guys can do it. Whether it's in your corporation or where you work, you always want to be searching out the next cool thing to work on, the next thing that really grabs your interest. 2, I'll tell you, don't chase the money. I never chased the money, actually. Money follows success, not the other way around. I never went after the highest pay. I never thought we would do that great in IPO, actually. I just thought it was just part of the process. And so, very fortunate there. And 3, listen to your peers, to your parents, to your spouses, to those that you trust. There's going to be times in your career that you need an outside point of view. Had I not listened to my wife that day, I don't know if I would have started Silicon Image. So I'm going to leave the speech with a quote that just came up the other day from a famous athlete. His name's Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua said, don't let success get to your head or failure to your heart. And I think that fits a lot the type of business I've been in. So I really think you guys are going to do phenomenal. You have a great foundation, so the best of luck, and I hope to read about you someday in the paper. Good luck. Thank you.